Okay, last part, hopefully. I was talking about, first I was just giving a general view of what I feel about this whole race stuff and why I'm thinking that we're blowing it way out of proportion. One before this, I was talking about traits and terms that we use for each other. Now, and I'm kind of rushing through this because I can go into this a whole lot longer, but I don't want to drag this out any longer than it already has, so I'm pretty sure things that I've missed or whatever, people will probably make response videos or leave text comments, and of course you guys know I comment back, so we'll probably continue on that front. But the last thing I want to bring up is how this race stuff is fucking us up as citizens of our country. Now I'm saying our country in terms of the United States, but I know racial shit is popping up all over the world. So if you happen to be in another part of the world hearing this will pertain to you too. So even though I'm speaking mostly in American terms and bringing up American examples, it exists in your world too, and it's fucking you guys up also. And I'll talk about why. I am... Let me see a good way I can put this. Yeah, I think I know. If you talk to somebody who's still racist, like, I'll admit, in this day and time, it's uncool or unfashionable to be racist. Sure, certain parts of this country, it's okay. But that's more of an outdated clique. I mean, when's the last time the KKK has really been freaking relevant? You know, but these cliques still exist. There are other power movements out there. You know, Nazi movements, white power movements, whatever. Little cliques, little groups. You know, they're getting more and more and more and more and more. Like, they're getting smaller, but as they get smaller, they get more angry. Because they know they're dying breed. When something realizes that it's dying off, it'll fight tooth and claw to try to stay alive and scream and scream and scream until it's trying to die. You know? But you got these same things in black groups too. Or brown skin groups too. You see, I'm stuck with the term. But you find this, you know, in minority groups. You got your hate groups in minority areas too. And both sides love talking about how the other side is fucking things up. So you'll probably find, even if you're not violently racist, you'll still probably find some white guy saying something like, well, if black people would stop doing this, or if they stop committing crime, you know, if they're doing that, that's what's bringing the country down. But you also find black people saying, you know, if white people weren't so freaking racist, not allowing us to have jobs or whatever, and this and that, that's why we're kept poor. They're the ones fucking things up for us. Have you ever stopped to think that maybe it's not that? Thinking along racial lines is what's keeping you people down, no matter what skin color you are, because it isn't them. Let's take the average Republican slob, for an example, to use, because this is a good example to use. You talk to your average, and I'm not talking about the politicians, or the people who run the campaigns, or the people in office. I'm talking about the guys who vote this ticket. The guys who are trying to make ends meet, living in some place in the Midwest, or, you know, some south place somewhere, not making much money, trying to scrape a living, but they vote Republican. And then if you ask them why, as Adrianaka said in an older video of his, you know, they'll always bring up topics of abortion, or gay marriage, or, you know, faith issues, things like that, which have shit to do with actual leadership of a country. They always speak on moralistic issues. And if you notice, when you pick them further about why you think this is so important, sooner or later they'll start talking about a group of people who they feel are the problem, that they gotta have somebody dealing with. So in cases of abortion, they'll say, if it wasn't for those loose women or those feminists, talk about gay rights, if it wasn't for those homosexuals or those faggots, they bringing the country down. Talking about immigration, if it wasn't for those Mexicans coming in and taking the country and making us lose jobs. These people don't seem to realize that, okay, it's not gay people's fault that you're not making enough money and you're losing jobs. It's not Mexicans' fault that you got no money and you're losing jobs, and, you know, the government seems to be cracking down on you. It's not black people that are causing you to be poor. It's the government and the powers that be. And you happen to be voting for the very people that are fucking you over because they got you squabbling over petty shit. Honestly, do you really think arguing over abortion rights is going to help solve the problem of you having a better standard of living in this country? Sit down and think that. If you happen to, I doubt that the person who's thinking along those lines will be watching my channel, but in the off chance that you happen to be stumbling upon this video, before you get irate and angry and get ready to spit some venom at me, I want you to just sit down, blank your mind for a second, and think about that statement. Does any of your moral shit actually matter when in this day and time, at this hour that you're watching this, we now have a busted economy, a corrupt government, a corrupt presidential cabinet, which is breaking every single last law in the books to keep power, and since this past October 1st, they've just said that they were going to allow American troops to watch us. This is some fucked up stuff. And black people or homosexuals or whatever had nothing to do with it. Now, what does this have to do with race? Well, notice I just said black people because many people blame racists for the problems here. Or other countries. Mexicans are the ones who are causing us to lose jobs. No, it has nothing to do with large corporations just simply deciding, you know what? It's a hell of a lot cheaper for us to go to some third world country and exploit them and pay them pennies instead of paying our people over here fair share. So let's just dry up the town that we started, pull our factories out, and put it in some stupid third world country and pay them pennies. That's greed. That's capitalism. That's corruption. And I'm sorry for all you guys saying that capitalism is not the problem. Listen, capitalism ultimately is all about making profits, building capital. Period. So sooner or later, you're going to have people going, well, how do I maximize profit? Morality's got shit to do with it. No matter how much you're going to try to defend capitalism, and I'm not calling it an evil system, I'm just seeing it for what it is. It's a system all about making money. The people pulling their factories and going off to the other places to rip jobs out of here, according to capitalism, they're not doing any goddamn thing wrong. Are they? They're maximizing their profit. What do you want if you're defending capitalism? Don't mean to go off topic, I'm just trying to show that problem's got nothing to do with race. We only think it has something to do with race because we think on racial lines. But thinking on racial lines is what's keeping us in the situation that we're in. Because people thinking on racial lines aren't going, that guy's broke just like me. Shit, that white guy just got beat up by the cops just like me. Or a white guy going, wow, that black guy over there does know what's going on in this country. He's well learned. He does read books. He's able to communicate, which I find a little bit offensive, but what can I do? It's a stereotype. But I'm pretty sure white people find it offensive when we go to white guys and go, wow, you ain't a cracker. All because of racial shit. It's stuff like this which keeps us from going, wait a second, it's not me against you. It's the powers that be fucking us up. America's not going to get anywhere until we realize that we're all stuck in the same country, people. We're all here. No matter how we got here, whether you got here in chains or whether you got here in a rickety boat and had to learn from Indians that you would later kill off to learn how to live, we're all here. Now, instead of squabbling with each other over scraps, we should be figuring out how do we work with each other so that we will all benefit. That's what the rational thinking person is supposed to do. We're all in this boat together, and we're all getting fucked by the man. And by the man, I don't mean the white man. It's the powers that be. It's corrupt government. It's corrupt business types making the government corrupt, and vice versa. Those are the people that we should be having a beef with, not each other. Over color? Just because I happen to have more melanin? Or I'm going to pick on that guy because he has less melanin? This is the best we can come up with? We got to get over this hump. And for those otherwise reasonable, intelligent people who are still, and this is one of the reasons why I brought this topic up in the first place, because there's a few intelligent, pink-skinned people out there who are still somewhat thinking upon racial lines, because now that the tables have kind of turned against them, and they're now feeling the heat on their own skin, because before it was minorities feeling inferior about their skin. But now, because of this empowerment thing going on in minority groups, now it's pink-skinned people who are beginning to feel a bit inferior, and they don't like it. Well, the shoe's on the other foot now. Don't like it, huh? Not saying you should feel it, but now you at least know what it's like. So what you should be doing, instead of getting all defensive and yelling at other races and trying to come up with ways of pumping up your pride, what the fuck is pride in a race? How the hell are you going to have pride in something you had no choice in? Black or white or Chinese, whatever. There's no reason to having pride in something you had no say-so in. Instead of trying to find some way to boost up your ego that way, or try to defend your ego that way, what you should be doing is going, wait a minute, why are you doing what we did on you? Shouldn't we be trying to come together? I thought that's what this shit was supposed to be about, that we're all human. If you're doing that shit, well, you're just as fucked up as the Jim Crow idiots from back when, and you're no longer needed. That's what should be said. We need to pick the bad apples out of both sides and come together to solve a common problem. We should not be picking on each other just because somebody else happens to look darker than the other or lighter than the other. And this goes, just like go outside the topic of race, this goes with other type of little tidbits, whether it's sexual orientation or other country or whatever. We're all Americans, or if you happen to be in another country, you're all whatever country you're in. You gotta figure out how to work with each other to benefit one another. And that's all I'm gonna say now.